Good morning. My name is Rev Kylie Renner, and on behalf of the entire One Spiritual Center community, I want to welcome you here today. Thank you for bringing your love and your light into this space this morning. I want to first off thank you all for helping hold the space last week, for blessing our beloved Annie, because we knew she was close. And last Sunday evening, she blasted off, and so I've been, she's close to my heart this morning, and I've been thinking about this experience I've been carrying around for a few years, which is there's a restaurant in town that my husband and I like to go to, and I don't know exactly why, but I guess we are pretty memorable because they're always the wait staff and people remember us and know our names and know things about us. And so there was this particular restaurant with a wife and husband duo that are the servers, and we hadn't been for a while. And it was just life got busy, and we just hadn't made it. And we showed up, and the husband and wife were just so excited to see us, and they had been talking about us. They were wondering why hadn't they seen us? And so the story they came up with was that we were on some kind of exotic vacation. And so they said, we figured you went to Indonesia and then took a ferry and you were off, and then you ended up in New Zealand for a while. And then we figured maybe you got tired of that and wanted to go to Africa. And it was great. So every time we see them now, I ask them where I've been on vacation. And it was such a sweet thing, one, to think that someone, hasn't seen you, so they assume, you must be on some awesome trip. You must be on some great adventure. And I was thinking about that this morning in terms of Annie and this adventure that our souls go on when we leave this physical plane. And I'm just imagining that she's on some great vacation. Like that Spirit just knows exactly where to take her. And I just love that the idea though that we can carry around, like if we're not seeing someone, we don't know what's going on with them, that we just imagine that they are on some amazing vacation to some exotic place, and that we will catch up sometime to hear their adventure stories. And so I'm just holding that idea of that great adventure that we're all on, whether we're on the same physical plane as those on that adventure or not, that we stay connected. And I'm feeling that connection this morning. So if you're willing, I'm inviting you to take this opportunity to breathe into this space that never existed before, and this moment in time that will never exist again. And as we breathe into the preciousness of that, I just honor the great adventure that this being here on this planet is. I honor the preciousness of this moment in which we find ourselves together. And I recognize that Spirit is moving. It is transforming as us individually and collectively. And so I just know and I trust that we're in the right place today on that great adventure of life. That we're right where we need to be. And I trust and I know that Spirit knows as us how to transform, how to see more clearly, how to let go. It is all ingrained in our very wholeness. So I trust that whatever is on our hearts today can be handed over to something bigger. so that we may be free, and so that we may access a wisdom that's inside of us that is so ready to respond. And so I just let go into this day. I know perfection unfolding, and I let it be. And so it is.
I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean in my soul. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul.
Today I've chosen a poem by David White to lead us into our meditation. It's called The Opening of Eyes. That day I saw beneath dark clouds the passing light over the water, and I heard the voice of the world speak out. I knew then, as I had before, life is no passing memory of what has been, nor the remaining pages in a great book waiting to be read. It is the opening of eyes long closed. It is the vision of far-off things seen for the silence they hold. It is the heart, after years of secret conversing, speaking out loud in the clear air. It is Moses in the desert, fallen to his knees before the lit bush. It is the man throwing away his shoes as if to enter heaven and finding himself astonished, open at last, fallen in love with solid ground. And so we just take this idea that life is the opening of our eyes long closed, and we allow for the meditation to move us today.
Our special music this morning, Lee Taylor is here. Lee Taylor. I knew you were here, Lee. That's Lee Taylor.
Thank you so much, Lee. So since last week, I've been thinking a lot about a particular word. And the word is initiation, and it came from that book that I told you Annie had given me when we started this community. And the message she gave me, that she recognized that the difficult experience that I had just walked through was my initiation into some new level of experience. And so I've been thinking a lot about that from the perspective of how we actually go through lots of initiations in our lives. That, seen correctly, basically everything that we experience is an initiation. It's preparing us for something we haven't seen before, something we didn't know before, something we hadn't accessed within ourselves before. But we so often tend to start to freak out in the midst of it, so that to the degree that then we miss the fact that we've actually been initiated. So David White, who I quote all the time, in one of his talks that he gave years ago that I heard at a seminar, he said that one of the things he finds so interesting about human beings is that we are often 2 or 3 or 4 years behind ourselves in our own transformation. Like, we don't even realize it's happened. And that initiations have happened, transformation has happened, but because we just have gotten so in a groove of what we think is happening, we've missed the fact that we've actually been prepared for something else. That we have tilled the ground and the soil is ready to plant something new. So it often takes 3 or 4 years for us to catch up for ourselves, or some sort of initiation or some sort of rite of passage that we create for ourselves, where we take the time to remember that this thing has happened, to catch up with ourselves. So I've been thinking about that, and I came across this quote from Dan Millman, who said that every positive change, every jump to a higher level of energy and awareness involves a rite of passage. Each time to ascend to a higher rung of the ladder of personal evolution, we must go through a period of discomfort or of initiation. I have never found an exception. So that's the deal, right? I think that we like to try and find the exception. Like, how do I get to some higher level without having to deal with the discomfort of getting there? And so we often will ignore that call for an initiation, a call for something new to be let go of, to be embraced, because we become so wedded to our comfort, or as Thich Nhat Hanh said, the discomfort we know. And so there's this really great story about Thich Nhat Hanh that I came across this week that I want to share with you, because it made me laugh, and because it acknowledges something I think to be so true about these times of rite of passage. And so the story goes that he was given a talk with one of his friends, And they were really close friends, and so they had created this intimacy that was really beautiful on stage together because it was so natural. And they were at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C., having this conversation about faith and the path. And in the middle of it, Thich Nhat Hanh began to recite one of his favorite mantras, which is every moment, perfect moment, every moment, perfect moment, every moment, perfect moment. And his friend in the middle of him stopped it and said, but old buddy, some moments really suck. And the whole cathedral started to burst into laughter because obviously that's the truth, right? Like every moment, perfect moment, and some moments really suck. And both those things get to exist together if we remember that truly what we're doing is bigger, that we are being initiated by all of our experiences into this deeper level of understanding what we're here to be and to do. And so I have to tell you, it's really interesting because I think that initiations, especially the big ones in our lives, take a long time for us to figure out all of the pieces to. And I had this tremendous revelation this week that doesn't matter about anything, but about an initiation that had occurred in my life. And there's just this sense of freedom, of being willing to declare every moment perfect moment, and that really sucked. And to know that it can keep on teaching us if we're willing to stay in the presence of it. So that's the deal, right? I think that sometimes we get so busy with what we think is going on in our lives that we actually don't pay attention and we don't take the lessons of our initiations fully. And so there's in a lot of beautiful traditions, there's ways in which we get to celebrate those kind of unseen transformations, the ones that maybe we don't have cultural markers for, like graduating or getting married or celebrating the life of someone who's passed. There's all kinds of other aspects of our lives where we miss the fact that something tremendous has happened. And we don't take the time to remember that those threshold places are powerful and necessary for us to honor so that we stay in alignment with where we actually are. And so when we're paying attention to what's actually happening in us, there's all of this room and this time to remember that we signed up to be here and to do the hard stuff. I know I love that quote that I've shared before from someone. She wrote the bean trees, Barbara Kingsolver. There, I knew I could find it. It was just like right there. But she has a story she tells about her the schooling that her children went through, and the mantra that came out of that, which was that you can do whatever hard thing is in front of you. You can do this hard thing. But the beauty of remembering that we didn't sign up just to kind of skate along the surface. Like none of us. I know you wouldn't be in this room if you signed up for just getting by. Like we signed up for some sort of deeper dive. And so there's a great story about a Chinese Zen master named Ta Hui, who said that monks would beg him to stay at his protected monastery, and at certain points he would actually forcibly evict them and send them out in the world to deal with everyday realities. And this is what he would tell them: anyone can hold a sleeping baby. Do you get that? Like anyone can experience that kind of bliss state when you don't have to do the hard stuff. It's the people who are willing to go in and hold the crying baby, hold the sick baby, hold the screaming tantrum baby. That's where the work is. That's what we signed up to do. That's where the initiation happens. That's where the movement of spirit happens. That's where we actually get free and free from the cycles of some of the things that we came in with that we're really finally ready to let go of. So Denise Lynn says it this way: when you truly cross a threshold, you break the cycle of negative patterns of abuse, ridicule, betrayal, rejection, discouragement, cruelty, abandonment, lack of love, failure, or scorn that have continued generation after generation. And you initiate a new cycle of love and support and kindness that will follow you for generations to come. And so this is the work we're doing, right? We're finally on that threshold of letting go and really welcoming the initiation into something else, but it's uncomfortable. I mean, it's got to be what's going on, right, in our country right now. If that's not what's going on, I can't figure it out. Like, we've got to be learning somehow about what it is that we're here to do together by this experience. And so this idea that we're initiating a new cycle, by being willing to participate in our own healing, by being willing to be clear about the cycles that we've participated in, the things that we're finally ready to get free from, and the fact that our souls we're never going to be satisfied with just skipping along the surface. So there's this great story that Jean Cocteau told about his niece. And apparently when his brother had another child, they asked his little niece if she wanted to see her new little brother that the angel just brought. And she said, "No, thank you, but I'd really like to see that angel." And I'm so touched by that, because it feels like that's that pull that we have for that deeper thing. Like, we're not satisfied with seeing the baby, which is glorious in its own right. Like, but the work that we're doing is like to see the angel that dropped it off, right? The work we're doing is getting to the heart and the center of what's real, the source of it all. And that's the call, right? The call of the initiation that we're going through is to get through the bullshit that we've been carrying around that hasn't served us, and to realize that actually what we're doing here is so much bigger. And that we've been initiated into it already by all of the things that have happened in our lives, the ones that were crap, and the ones that hurt really bad, and it was all that discomfort, like that we've actually prepared the way for this new cycle, if we're willing to then plant new things in that. So one of the tendencies I know, and I've found in myself, is that having gone through an initiation, I try and go back and put on the old identity from before, and see if I can wear it around for a little bit, because it's so uncomfortable. I don't know how to be in this new form yet. And that in and of itself is a trap that then keeps me from actually having to step into that new idea. And so what I know about that is that we have to be willing to be uncomfortable. We have to be willing to not know how it looks or feels to be in our skin anymore, and that in fact that is part of the gift that we've been given, is the capacity to hold that. Like, we wouldn't be going through the hard things that we're going through if we didn't have the capacity to step fully into them. All of the lessons, all of the growth, all of the things that we then know and see on the other side, we wouldn't be going through that if we haven't already prepared the way for it. And so this idea then that we don't need to then go back and put on an old identity, we don't need to go back and put on an old idea of ourselves, and in fact that we're actually free to do something else, is an opportunity to stop putting our focus on that baby, right? And actually see the angel that dropped it off. And so Mark Nepo says it this way, I think, somewhere close to this, but it's like that the whole point, right, is to be able to go through a storm without starting to worship the storm. Like to be able to be in the experience of the initiation without getting stuck on the idea of who did what and what happened and da 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 da, the drama of it, but instead realize that we're actually being prepared, the way is being prepared for something new. And so I don't know what this looks like for all of you, but I'm deeply sensing that there's this like a collective initiation that we're going through, that we're preparing the way for something else, and that we have to be uncomfortable together for a while so that something else can happen. But what I also know is that whether accidental or intentional, like right there, just beyond, is exactly where we need to be. So there's this really great poem that I'm going to end with that I didn't write down who wrote it, so we might have to do a Google search, but it's lovely. So this is what it's called: Just Beyond Yourself. Just beyond yourself, it's where you need to be. Half a step into self-forgetting, and the rest restored by what you'll meet. There's a road always beckoning, and when you see two sides of it closing together at that far horizon and deep in your own heart at exactly the same time, that's how you know it's where you have to go. That's how you know it's the road you have to follow. That's how you know you have to go. That's how you know it's just beyond yourself. It's where you need to be. And so this is that being willing. Oh, thank you so much. You could see my nose spilling over there. That idea, right? That whatever it is that we're being initiated to is just like right there, right beyond ourselves, and that the roads will show the way, like the clarity will come if we allow ourselves to remember it's just right there, that we're being initiated into something beautiful. It's not something we need to fear. In fact, it's something we can celebrate. And even though it's uncomfortable, we're supported and loved in it in a way that is beyond what we could imagine. And so I'm just honoring that, and I'm going to ask the band to come up because we are going to sing as we open to prayer. I'm going to wipe my nose. Yes, may I? I'm ready now. Thank you. And that, if he didn't turn that off, that would be really loud for you guys. So as we prepare the way for prayer, I'm just inviting you to think about maybe some transformation happening in your life, something that feels maybe uncomfortable, that you're willing to see as an initiation instead of something to avoid, to remember that you are being prepared for new freedom. And it's already here. And it is just in that remembrance that we take it to prayer. And I invite you to sing with me.
Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, and sets us free. Our prayer of love, it lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, and sets us free. Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, and sets us free. Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, and sets us free.
And so our prayer of love today is a prayer of honoring exactly where we are. We honor everything that has come before this moment, that has prepared the way for all of the insight and the clarity and the questions that then are able to move us and create a new cycle, a new expression, a new experience. So I honor all that has come before us and this opportunity that we have right here and now to be clear that the way has already been made. that we have already done the work for that next step, and that the transformation is waiting for us right there, just beyond ourselves. And so we take a deep dive into a commitment to our own freedom, knowing that it is right in the midst of that which feels challenging that we are most deeply transformed, that we have access to our deepest love and the deepest support of the entire universe. And so I just know that it's right there, whatever we need, the wisdom and the clarity, and that it will continue to show up as we are willing to honor that which we have gone through, that which we have experienced, that is now ready to serve as fertilizer for the growth that is about to happen. And I know that it is all right here, right now. We don't need to look anywhere for it. And so we just open to it. We let that love and that wisdom expand. And we let it be. And so it is.
Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, and sets us free. Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, sets us free. Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, and sets us free. Once again, he's young, he's ambitious, he's talented. Lee Taylor. That was cool. Let's always do that. Wesley Taylor, Demi DeSante.
Thank you.
Yay. Thank you, thank you. Wow. Yeah, so every couple of months I get a text from John, and he'll be someplace like Artesia with Demi, and he'll say, I'm in Artesia. Thank God Demi can shred. So, yes, he can shred. Thank you. Makes everything better. So now is the time where we move into the sharing of our tithes and offerings. I invite you to take whatever it is you brought to share with the community and hold it over your heart and give it a blessing, whatever that might be for you today. Whatever stage you are in your initiation, I just invite you to bless that which you're offering. Bless it for the gift that it gives this community. Bless it for the support that it provides, the vision and the prayer that is in your heart. And I just know that Spirit is here with us today. That we see more clearly the path in front of us that is just beyond ourselves. And I know that we are ready. And so I invite you to sing with me as our ushers come through the aisles.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, nothing but blue skies. I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds, they had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Bright, sunshiny day.
So please join me as we bless all that has been offered into this space. All of the joy, all of the questions, all of the challenges, all of the prayer. We bless what it means to be here, willing to take a deep dive into our own freedom, knowing that my freedom is your freedom and your freedom is mine. And that collective work transforms this whole thing that we're doing together called life. And I just know that we are being initiated into something bigger together. And we let that transformation happen joyfully even if it is uncomfortable, because we are loved and supported, and we know that something bigger is happening. And so we just trust in that, and we let it be. And so it is. Thank you. So I just have, I actually have an announcement that you most have heard before, which is that on the third Saturday of next month, we will be at First United Methodist Church cooking a meal that will be served at Community of Hope. We do this every month. We serve about 100 hungry members of our community. And then usually we're on the fourth Saturday, we're at Roadrunner Food Bank. But once again, there's a scheduling thing. So we are not there in February. We return to our regular scheduled programming in March. And March is going to be a big, busy month for us. So I have something very exciting to tell you about, which is, yes, which is that moving here to the Outpost has been tremendous for us as a community. And the Outpost itself has been so incredibly supportive to us. And one of the things that they have done for us is to actually give us a space on their spring concert series. So on March 12th, which is a Thursday night, we get to show off these amazing guys. And some of the other amazing music that we have on Sundays to the greater community. And we are so excited to be having been given this opportunity. So I will have flyers ready for you guys next week, but mark it down. It's a Thursday night, March 12th. And I'm really excited to have this opportunity. So thanks, Tom and the Outpost, and we're excited about that. And yes, that was very generous of them as well. So, yay. I don't know what else to say. Oh, this is something I was asked to tell you, if you don't already know, which is that as there are more of us, people are trying to figure out where to park and how that works. And just so you know that the lot across the street right there is not patrolled on Sunday mornings. So you're welcome to park there as well. Okay? Cool. Yes. And I believe that is all I have to say today. Let us sing.
One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's give thanks to the Lord, and we can feel alright. People get ready, there's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith, you hear that diesel humming. You don't need no tickets, you just thank the Lord. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's give thanks to the Lord, and we can feel alright. People get ready for the train to Jordan, picking up passengers from coast to coast. Faith is the key, open the doors and board. There's room for all that love the most. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's give thanks to the Lord, and we can feel alright. Let's give thanks to the Lord, and we can feel alright.
One last blessing to sing to one another.
Thank you.